দর্শক আপনাদের স্বাগত জানাই একাত্তর অর্থ সংলাপে। আশা করি আপনারা সবাই ভালো আছেন। দর্শক, এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমরা একজন আমন্ত্রিত অতিথির সাথে কথা বলি, যিনি সাধারণত কোনো বড় কোম্পানির চিফ এক্সিকিউটিভ কিংবা ওনার। তো আজ আমাদের সাথে উপস্থিত আছেন কোর্স পিএলসির গ্রুপ সিইও পল ফরম্যান। আমরা তার সাথে কথা বলবো, তবে তার আগে দেখে নিই আজকে পত্রপত্রিকাগুলোতে কী ধরনের অর্থনৈতিক এবং বাণিজ্যিক শিরোনাম রয়েছে। শুরুতে আছে দ্য ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল এক্সপ্রেস, মোহিত হোপস ইন গেট রিড অফ। ডেইলি স্টার বলছে এ মডেল ফর রুরাল ডেভেলপমেন্ট। ডেইলি স্টার এ মডেল ফর ডেভেলপমেন্ট। দ্য ডেইলি সান celebration event commemorating 110 years of MCCI, ঢাকা দিল্লি এগ্রি টু হোল্ড রোড শো। আচ্ছা, আমাদের অর্থনীতি থাই জঙ্গলে বাংলাদেশি কৃতদাস, পাট নিয়ে বাংলাদেশের ভীষণ চাই এপিজে আব্দুল কালাম। অর্থনীতি প্রতিদিন, মিলানে প্রধানমন্ত্রীকে সম্বর্ধনা, দেশের ভাবমূর্তি বাড়াতে প্রবাসীদের প্রতি আহ্বান, অর্থনৈতিক প্রবৃদ্ধি কমাতে পারে সন্ত্রাস। সমকাল, সুদ হারের সীমা বাজারে প্রভাব ফেলবে না, মোহাম্মদ নুরুল আমিন, তিনি মিডল্যান্ড ব্যাংকের ম্যানেজিং ডিরেক্টর। রাইট শেয়ার অনুমোদনের চেয়ে বাতিলই বেশি। তারপরে আছে কালের কণ্ঠ, 2 মাস সাগরে ভাসছে 100 কোটি টাকার গম। ইত্তেফাক, ক্ষুদ্র ঋণ প্রতিষ্ঠানগুলোর মধ্যে সমন্বিত ব্যবস্থাপনা জরুরি। দর্শক, আমরা পত্রিকাগুলোর শিরোনাম দেখছিলাম। আমি আগেই বলেছি আমাদের সাথে আছেন পল ফরম্যান, কোর্স পিএলসির গ্রুপ সিইও। যুক্তরাজ্য ভিত্তিক কোর্স পিএলসি বস্ত্র খাতে বাংলাদেশে কাজ করছে এবং আজ তার 25 বছর পূর্তি হচ্ছে। আমরা কোর্স বাংলাদেশের সমস্ত কর্মকর্তা কর্মচারী এবং তাদের সাথে যারা কাজ করছেন সবাইকে অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি। এবং একে খান গ্রুপের সাথে এটি একটি জয়েন্ট ভেঞ্চার কোম্পানি। 90 সাল থেকে এর যাত্রা শুরু। আমরা এখন কথা বলবো পল ফরম্যানের সাথে। মিস্টার ফরম্যান, ওয়েলকাম টু আওয়ার স্টুডিও।
Thank you. Good morning.
Hope your stay in Bangladesh is so far going well.
Extremely, thank you. Yes.
Where are you here in Bangladesh?
I guess you would say I'm here to have a very big birthday party, a 25th birthday party, because it was this week in October 1989 that we signed an agreement with Ekattor Group, and that started 25 years of Coats Bangladesh. So we have an evening event tonight with literally hundreds of customers, suppliers and officials.
Different stakeholders.
Indeed, all the stakeholders,
okay,
to celebrate that.
Hope your celebration will be very enjoying. But what makes Bangladesh so important for the courts?
Well, we are the world's largest manufacturer of thread. We are 3 times the size of anyone else, and we hold together 1 in 5 garments on the planet. And obviously Bangladesh is the number 2 manufacturer. So for us it is a very core market. So we are firmly committed to it and have really had a good industrial base here for quite some time now.
And what is your business actually, what is the speciality of your business in Bangladesh?
I think it reflects the nature of the industry. So a lot of it is literally all the kind of products that we have to hold clothes and shoes together. But also what is interesting now is that we're increasing our product range as the economy develops. So to give you a couple of examples, we now make thread that is fire resistant, that goes into firemen's workwear and things like that.
Fire resistant threads.
Yes.
And if you compare courts operation in Bangladesh and courts operations in other third world countries, what do you see the difference?
Well, what I see that is the same attention on quality, customer service, etc. I'm very, very proud of the team that we have in Coats Bangladesh. Every year we have a conference for our top management, and this year Coats Bangladesh was named the best business in the world in the Coats environment, so that was fantastic. The other point is that they won the first Health and Safety Award for Coats as well. So the Coats Bangladesh business is not only well established but has a terrific set of team members.
And you are here straight from Brazil, I heard.
Yes, indeed.
And if you compare the Latin American experience and Bangladesh experience, do you see anything comparable?
Well, what's interesting is that Brazil is having pretty tough economic times at the moment.
Same here in Bangladesh.
Your definition of tough and Brazil would kill for a 6% GDP rate.
Okay.
At the moment, it's pretty static. What I like as I go around is I see there's much in common, but in each business there's something to learn from one another. So they both have many similarities, but I think Bangladesh obviously has a much better growth currently and probably for the near future.
And you are operating two factories in Gazipur and Chittagong.
Correct.
And definitely you monitor everything. What do you see the working condition, working atmosphere, and the attitude and behavior of the workforce?
For us, how the workers feel, whether they are safe or not, is our most important consideration. And we try and give the best possible working environment for our employees. And we do this through something called an employee engagement survey. And I personally track the movement every year. And from going from way below average, Coats Bangladesh is now in the top 5% of any global manufacturing companies in the world.
Okay.
So I think it's fair to say that our workforce is well treated and is happy, but is also very productive as a result.
And you know, the Bangladesh is very famous for workers' militancy, different type of movements. Is it also available in the courts areas? How do you treat with the unions or the labor organizations?
We have very good relations. As I say, the trade unions are fully involved in the process of motivating the workers. So we will have family days. The trade unions are encouraged to suggest how we make the working environment better. They organize social events. So I think it's a very strong, positive relationship.
And is the union really a real bargaining agent?
Sorry?
The union, the workers' union in courts, is it a real bargaining agent with the management?
I think actually unions often only do exist if management is not doing its job properly, and there's a good relationship we discussed in advance.
Governance is the issue.
Yeah.
Corporate governance.
Yes, exactly.
So how do you evaluate your joint venture with Ekattor Group? Ekattor Group in Bangladesh is one of the leading industrial groups, and very old, traditional, and they have so many other businesses that they are quite experienced in textile and manufacturing areas. How is this matchmaking going on?
Well, at a personal level, and I'm privileged to know both Mr. Khans, I think they have foresight, they have a warmth and a trust, and there is just a great working relationship. If I look at what both sides bring to the party, we very much understand the business of making thread. What they very much bring is how to do business ethically and well and effectively in Bangladesh. So if you combine those two, you get the best of both worlds. So I have no doubt that the success we've seen is due not only to our skill as a thread maker, but their skill in terms of helping us navigate Bangladesh, which is not always straightforward.
Okay, and hope this relationship will be cemented further in the years to come.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you told me that Coats is the pioneering sewing thread, and it's one of the top 5 companies in the world. So, what are the key factors behind this success of Coats?
Well, Coats itself started in the 1750s, and basically for the last 250 years, it has always tried to innovate because it recognized that if it didn't, then it wouldn't survive. And so the pioneering spirit, as we call it, has just been in the DNA of Coats. But I think the other question is, how do we sustain it? Mm-hmm. And very much we live 2 values, one of which is that the people have to have energy for change. We think that change is a natural and inevitable part of business, so let's make the most of it. But we have this other principle, which is not necessarily typical of a lot of Asian businesses, called freedom to operate. And what that means is we delegate responsibility to improve to the lowest level possible. So we involve all of our 1,600 workers in Bangladesh in very much the question of how do we make a better, more successful, more enjoyable, more productive business.
Mr. Forman, once again welcome you after the commercial break. And you were telling about the main elements behind the success, of course. And you said the staff, employees always have the energy to respond to the change. Can you explain it further?
Yeah, sure. A business environment we are now, our customers always want more. Our competitors are always evolving. So for me, you have to have this energy for change. So we are constantly urging everyone in the company, whether that be Coats Bangladesh or Coats across the world, to come up with ideas as to how we do things better, because there's a big difference between being the biggest in an industry but the leader in the industry. The leader sets the rules of the game and is constantly trying to keep one step ahead of anyone else in product innovation, in service innovation, or whatever. And very much our focus is not just being the biggest, but being the leader. And if we've got 20,000 brains, all our employees, focused on this one question, it's going to optimize our chances.
So, and how do you evaluate your competitors?
Sorry?
How do you see your competitors?
I think when I came about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to have these big arguments with my people because they would say we are the leading thread supplier. And I would say we're not the leading thread supplier, but we are the biggest.
Biggest, yeah.
But now I believe that we are the leading thread supplier. So, for instance, if you look at what we're doing in the field of digital, we have the most complex, most complete e-commerce platform in the industry, in the entire apparel making industry. If you look at the product innovation, we just talked about that thread that resists fire. So it's about service innovation, product innovation, but it's also about having the best, most motivated employee base, because if you have very, very motivated employees, they deliver outstanding products and outstanding service. So I'm actually very comfortable with where we are strategically vis-a-vis our competition. But we should never ever underestimate them in any shape or form.
Anyway. And for creating a motivated employee team, what should be the role of management?
I think management need to create the right environment. They need to listen to the employees and then need to help them facilitate what they want to do. Now that isn't a recipe for anarchy. I'm not advocating that, but what I'm saying is that the more you can get the people who are closest to the factory floor suggesting improvements, for instance, or every salesman saying, if I had this product, this would be helpful. So I think the role of management is very much to kind of create an environment and facilitate a journey, be part of it themselves, but share that workload with the whole workforce.
Okay. Now let's come to the Bangladesh operation once again. And you are the leader in threads business in Bangladesh, because the Bangladesh textile sector is very big now.
Yes.
And one of the leading garment exporters in the world. But you see that there is a campaign against Bangladesh this time after the Rana Plaza tragedy and also the Tazreen fire. What do you see the future of textiles in Bangladesh?
Well, I understand that the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association has articulated a target of 50 billion in 2020.
50, yeah.
Yes, so in 2021. That would mean basically doubling in size. Now, I think that is very achievable. It would require sustaining about 10% growth per annum for the next 7 years, but there is nothing that I see that would say that isn't possible. I think that the workforce is available. I think the skills are there. I've been coming here for 4 years, and I notice a distinct professionalization of the whole supply chain. So I think many of the fundamentals are in place. There are some factors that could impede that. For instance, changes in policy or whatever would obviously be a potential negative factor. I think doubling the throughput puts pressure on an infrastructure which really needs seeing to as well. But I think that if many of the same factors continue as they are now, then I think there's a really good chance for the Bangladeshi garment industry to achieve a very bold aim. And that would cement its position, in the top 2 or 3 in the world, which I think it would be fantastic economically, and the opportunity to create 2 or 3 more million jobs, direct jobs, I think is a prize that we should all strive to help Bangladesh achieve.
And despite this infrastructure is here, labor force is here, and the success story of the garments factory in Bangladesh, but there is a negative campaign in the Western market about Bangladesh. The working atmosphere, working condition, labor wages, and other issues. Do you think that Bangladesh, what are the challenges Bangladesh garment sector is facing up to 2021? In 2021 they are going to celebrate 50 years of Bangladesh, and they want to reach 50 billion.
Yes.
So it's a big dream, but there are challenges. What do you see the challenges?
I think some of them are more about perception than reality. As I understand it, the Alliance and the Accord had a very thorough review, and very, very few factories
1,700 factories
were found to be non-compliant. So I think there's an image issue there which needs to be managed. But I think it's really about avoiding disruption through hartals, etc. So it's about a stable platform, and about an industry that is continuing to professionalize itself. So I think those are the key challenges.
This is the last part of our discussion. You were telling about the challenges Bangladesh is going to face, and you said Bangladesh needs to realize the reality prevailing in the global market.
I think when you think of Bangladesh and garments, one naturally thinks about the Europe and the USA. And clearly that's going to be a big driver of the growth. But actually, if you look at the demographics, there are going to be literally hundreds of millions of new consumers as more and more people join the Asian middle classes. We're already seeing that in the east coast of China, for instance. And our strong view is that actually we will see a rebalancing from everything going west to a lot of things going east as well over the next few years. And I think the really encouraging thing from a Bangladesh point of view is that a lot of those garments are going to be at the price points which is really the sweet spot of the Bangladesh garment industry. So I would think that's a real point to be bullish about if I was mapping out the future.
Okay. And what do you see the future of course in Bangladesh, or you have any future planning as you are celebrating 25 years? So are you announcing something new today?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Delighted to say that although we are known as the largest thread producer, not many people, including some in the company, realize that we are the second largest global zip supplier as well.
Oh, zip also.
Zips,
okay.
yep, exactly, zippers. And so we are announcing the commencement of a zip factory in Chittagong. We will probably commence operation in about 6 months from now. And I think it's great that we can invest still further in Bangladesh. If you look over the last 2 or 3 years, Bangladesh is one of the 3 biggest recipients of investment by Coats worldwide. So it shows how much faith we have in the team, but also the potential of the market. So we will be announcing that, and we will also be announcing the fact that we are launching formally a technical advisory business, whose main reason to exist is to work with contractors or brands and say, there are these big challenges of productivity, speed to market, how can we do that?
And how does Coats stand on health and safety across the factories around the world and also in Bangladesh?
When I go to all of our factories, I talk to all our workers, and I say to them that my job, my number one job as CEO, is to make sure that all our workers have a safe and a respectful environment in which to work. That is the fundamental demand any CEO should have of himself or herself. So it's deeply ingrained in our culture. Coats Bangladesh, as I mentioned earlier, has actually been the recipient of the first Health and Safety Award.
Okay.
And it has managed over 5 million man-hours without a reportable accident. And you can only do that if you have a culture that's very, very focused on health and
Is
safety.
it the same in Europe and in Bangladesh?
In what way?
The standard, say health and safety standard.
Yes, in fact, I would say that the health and safety standards in Bangladesh are higher, to be honest, now. You just have to look at the results. So I think everybody eats, sleeps and breathes health and safety, and that doesn't just stop and start at the factory gate. What we're increasingly trying to do is work with people to say, how do we be safe outside the working environment?
And people and environment are the key challenges for today's business environment. And what are you doing going to ensure that course is ready to face the challenges? People, environment conditions, etc.
People.
And I would like to add one more question
Sure.
with this. And do you have any CSR program for the community working around your factory and working places?
Yes. In terms of our people, we take that very seriously. We have a global employee engagement survey. We ask all 20,000 people through a program that is in 42 languages and costs several $100,000 every year, how they would like to see Coats being a better place. And that's the fundamental part of what we do. In environment, we fully comply. In fact, we more than comply with all necessary standards and have Coats standards which are normally better than minimum legal standards. So I think that's very important to us, definitely.
And also CSR activities for the community.
Yes, we have both. As a globally, we have over half our sites have community engagement projects, and we have those going on in Bangladesh, and we're also involved in the CRP program as well.
And for corporate citizens, time management is very important. And you are a seriously busy man, I know.
Yes.
As the group CEO, how do you budget your time to have a better schedule in every sphere of life, every sphere of working?
Yes. Well, within work, I set myself a target of visiting places at a certain regularity. So I almost diarise them at the beginning of the year. And then the rest of the time I have to split with other duties.
Okay.
On the work-life balance, what I have to do is I have to put some time in my diary in advance.
So time management is very important for a person. Any last few words for Bangladesh market or Bangladesh people?
I think that it's a really exciting day for Coats Bangladesh. And I'm proud to be here, and I'm very, very optimistic about the prospects both for the industry but for the company as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul Forman, for joining us. And I hope
Pleasure.
your celebration will be enjoyable and you will be staying well in Bangladesh and also in your career. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
দর্শক, আজকের মতো ৭১ সংলাপ এখানেই শেষ করব। দেখা হবে আগামীকাল ঠিক এই সময় ৭১-এর পর্দায়। সবাই ভালো থাকুন, ৭১-এর সাথে থাকুন।